Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast. This edition of the Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Axon started out of a passion for keeping agriculture moving. Imagine having 100 years of tire and wheel knowledge in your back pocket the next time you sell a piece of ag equipment. To find more or become an Axon dealer, please visit axontire.com. This podcast is also brought to you by Valley Transportation. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 or go to valleytransinc.com for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. This podcast is also brought to you by Ag Direct. No matter how you buy your ag equipment, from a dealer, auction, or a private party, Ag Direct can help you finance it. You can even apply online at agdirect.com. Learn more about your financing options at agdirect.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
We decided to start a new segment. And the new segment's called Boots on the Ground. And the idea behind Boots on the Ground is that it's just that. We're going to go out and talk to people that are doing this kind of stuff every day. And Aaron and I kind of thought about it and what we were going to do and the perspectives that we want to bring into this. And I think we're going to reach out and talk to as many different people as we can go out there and talk to. So our first guest that we had on the Boots on the Ground is going to come up here next, and it's Kevin Vandervort out of Hoover's Inc. And they are Case IH dealer in
East Coast,
pretty much. I mean, New York, Pennsylvania,
Delaware,
Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina. So they cover a big swath area out there. And Kevin's a guy I met probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, something like that. And he's a smart guy, wealth of information, and glad we could have him on. So
absolutely.
So with that, Kevin. All right. So this segment is a new one that we just came up with, and it's not something we've done before. Aaron, I thought it'd be good to get some other perspectives in the podcast, because when you live and breathe in like one county in western Nebraska, in the Panhandle of Nebraska, you kind of hit a pinch point in the overall view of America.
Well, don't shortchange us like that, man. Our coverage area is as big as a whole state, even though it's parts of two.
Well,
technically three.
True.
But
yeah.
So take it easy with that.
Right. Same landscape though throughout the entire
state. It is. So. Pivot, sagebrush, sand.
That's exactly right. So we thought we would come up with this fancy name called Boots on the Ground, and we'd bring in a used equipment manager or some person like that from the industry that works in used equipment and kind of talks about what's going on every day and knows what's happening in the marketplace. And we thought our first victim would be Kevin Vandervort out of Hoover's Inc. out there on the East Coast, out there in where you at? Delaware, Pennsylvania, a little bit of New York, kind of in that area, right?
So yeah, we cover Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Virginia, down to North Carolina line.
Right on.
Nice.
Oh wow! So you really get down there. So you kind of get out to Martha's Vineyard much, or you kind of get down?
No. You know what's interesting? There are no Case IH dealers in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, or Connecticut.
Well, look there. You got some places to grow now.
You got
some expansion plans coming your way, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Modern day pioneers.
Yeah.
Load the covered wagon. We're going to Massachusetts.
I
don't know if I want to do that or not.
Well, Kevin, kind of talk a little bit about. Kevin's been on the podcast before. I don't remember what number it was, but it was about a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. Kevin was on, but Kevin, tell everybody what you do with Hoover's and kind of what your position is there at the company.
Sure. So I am the used equipment manager. Been here since 2013. Took over for a guy that was retiring at the end of the great prosperity in agriculture.
Good time, buddy.
Larry had all the fun, and I came in and dealt with all the mess.
Yep.
and learn how to learn how to appraise and evaluate equipment as it was devaluing every month.
Yep.
And thank God we got through that. And so I do appraisals all day long. I'm looking at the trades that are coming in, possible trades that are coming in, and trying to put retail numbers and book numbers on all of those units. In that process, I am talking with other dealers, you guys, a bunch of other John Deere dealers I have good contacts with, and some Challenger dealers and AGCO dealers, and all the other colors out there that we deal with. So we are a Case IH dealer, and we also represent JCB. We have Kubota, Great Plains, Kraus, Kuhn, Knight, Woods. So I'm seeing all that kind of equipment all the time. And we have dairy, we have beef, we have row crop, we have nursery, turf. What else? Oh, cotton, peanuts, down in the Southern Virginia and North Carolina area.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So potatoes, some row vegetables. So we're very diverse, and a boatload of poultry.
Right. In the coastal, like your Maryland, Delaware, isn't there a lot of like high value crops in those regions too, or not?
Yes.
So much?
Oh yeah.
A lot of fruits and vegetables type stuff.
Yeah, fruits and vegetables, cannery, still quite a bit of sweet corn, snap peas, green beans, cucumbers for pickles, spinach, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of center pivot irrigation in this area.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is it gives us a lot of diversity. But I see a lot of different pieces of equipment as well with that.
Right.
So
yeah, you probably have a little bit of a lot of specialty equipment that comes across your way then.
Yes. And that goes in cycles, but yes, it gets interesting.
Okay. So I'm sure you're like every other dealer out there right now that's just flush with equipment. You don't know what you're going to do with it all. And you've got more stuff to sell than you can shake a stick at, right?
It's interesting. We were going over some numbers about 2 weeks ago. Our new inventory manager and I. And when I took over back in 2013, we had somewhere like 700, I think we topped out like 720 pieces of used inventory, somewhere around $30 million worth of used equipment. And we have it's 243 pieces of used equipment in inventory right now at about I think it's $9 or $10 million. And we probably have less inventory than we had back when we were just 3 stores.
Yeah.
It's just incredible, the difference.
Yeah, it's amazing. We were talking about that the other day, that if you take a look at an inventory situation right now where we're at, we have less inventory now than we did when we had, like you said, like 3 or 4 stores. I mean, and back then we were stressed out about that. Now we're looking at this going like, man, hope we have something to sell. We're using customer databases as far as what they have on farm to start talking to people about what's going on, what they might be looking for, upgrading those kind of things, and trying to build that washout cycle, non-organically, really. I mean, you're just trying to create something out of thin air and see if you can't get something to stick.
Yeah, it's the worry now is, as you said, what are we going to have to sell? Our sales guys are commission,
right?
So they have to be selling, and if they're not, and by all means, I do not want them to not be making money. If they're not making money, they're not going to be happy. They're going to be looking to go somewhere else.
Right.
Where that is today, I don't know, but they're going to be looking to go somewhere else. So I want them selling. I want them trying to find stuff.
Yep.
And the dichotomy right now is, okay, that piece, how premium is it that we go great guns on it versus is it really just an average piece that kind of looks good? Right now, I think right now every average piece, because there's so few, looks a little better than what it did, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
What is that? It's a 2 at 10 and a 10 at 2.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I think there's such little inventory right now that everything looks like a 10.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so, that's the big thing, is making sure that I have good relationships with all of my John Deere buddies so that I can try to get any of your red trades.
Right.
And so that I have some inventory to sell.
Yeah.
And what green stuff I get, I'm sure, all my John Deere buddies are looking for that, because we're all in the same boat here.
Yeah. That's such a key part to this, making all this thing work, is that, for as strategically, staunchly against each other we are, we're kind of linked together in a lot of ways. It's further away you are, the more friendly we're going to be with you, type of thing. That's usually how that works.
And you know what? And you know what's funny? Kevin could probably relate to this. In a normal year, kind of your best allies are your case or my Deere dealers that are a couple organizations away. Like you have a buffer, in between. And now those are your biggest enemy, because we're all after that one tractor that's for sale in North America, So now we're in a world where you and I are more allies than me and Green Dealer A, or me and the AGCO guy are better allies than me and Green Dealer B.
Yeah.
I really feel like that is the world we're in and have been in for at least 6 months.
For sure. So, Kevin, talk a little bit about what's going on in your area right now. So, what are you seeing? What's the hottest thing right now? You got obviously tractors. I mean, that's an easy one. But you start looking at coming into spring like this. You've got planter situations. You got spring, harvesting kind of here looming over the horizon here. So, I guess as you take a look at those two things, how are you handling those situations, and what are you really driving for right now as far as inventory?
So we're coming, obviously we're coming into planter season. I was really surprised that last fall we did a bunch of trades, and we had a number of 16-row corn planters, 16 and 1632 planters, and we sold out of most of those by the end of the year, which I was quite surprised, because it was kind of an off-season sale time. So we're coming into the spring, and we'll be in the midst of planter season with a few 6s and some 8s, and not really a lot of anything else. And it's going to be interesting to see how people react to that, because we don't. There'll be a few new pieces that will free up some of units that are still on the farm, because the person said you can't have it until I have my new. Right. And I'd have to go back. I think most of those are already pre-sold, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And I've had a few sales guys come to me and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this planter. Can you go find something?" And I've told them, "Look, at this point, I have to go buy from one of my fellow Case ICE dealers to get you something, because there's nothing red on any of my John Deere guys' lots." Mm-hmm. And so I'm not going to get a deal. If it's already listed on the internet, those guys aren't going to give me a deal.
Right.
So can I have that at ask price plus 10%? Nope. Has to keep it in the area. Be like, yeah, it's a world where, man.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't know. I'm with you, Casey. I think we're in this for 2025, 2026.
Yep.
This isn't a quick fix. There's no silver bullet that's coming along here. That even with the crop market where it's at, there's no silver unless the OEMs are lying to us and they're going to dump all their new pieces that are sitting on their lots all at one time. I don't see it.
Yeah. I think even then, though, I think it's just I think one of my things I've been paying attention to, I've thought about that a lot, Kevin, is when you sit back and you look at that and just say everybody, the fourth quarter of the year, everybody just throws in everyone's new equipment stuff all shows up and we're going to go out and sell everything. We got all this used stuff coming in. Most of that used equipment is pre-sold already. And
Absolutely.
The cupboard is so bare that it's going to take a lot to get. I mean, this is the first time in my history of being in this business where I was happy to go out and sell as much new equipment as I can because I was going to generate a bunch of used equipment to go out and sell. Typically, we're selling into such a saturated used equipment marketplace, trying to sell a bunch of new equipment and try to take in a bunch of used that you're constantly worrying about what your turn looks like,
It gets you coming and going.
This is you're just hoping to God that you have enough new equipment coming to generate enough used to get, what you have pre-sold taken care of. And that's the thing I'm kind of thinking about, where you have this group of people that are going to be looking at various parts of the business and thinking that, oh man, my inventory is not that bad. I mean, I've only got. I've only got. And you keep hearing that until all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, I've got, and
Right.
you're sitting there 3 years down the line where you've got an inventory problem. And I agree with you. I think it's that 25, 26, 27 time frame that we start really seeing a big ballooning of used equipment value or inventories anyway. But also, like you said, crop prices now and then could squash that pretty hard too.
They would have to, because the prices being high is our biggest enemy.
Sure.
Yeah.
It just keeps that snowball rolling downhill and we never will get caught up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
But the hard thing right now, I think, for me is, I'm watching all of these auctions and the prices that people are paying at auction. And it just is mind-boggling. And can we as a dealer get that? And I've had the really nice piece you always get good money for, but I don't know that there's always that really nice piece that people are paying stupid money for at the auction.
Yeah, exactly.
so that kind of alludes back to my rule of thumb I have, where you're somewhere between 15 and 25% above auction value right now, and I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one, man, because I don't know if you want to go out and tell someone that they bought it at auction for whatever $100,000, so somehow you're going to be selling it for $115 to $125, maybe $130,000. I think whoever has the golden goose right now is the one that's going to be able to sell those eggs and get whatever they want for them. You know what I mean? And I think that's the driving factor right now in the market that we're in, is if you have it and you can buy it today, that's worth something above and beyond what you see advertised.
It's the very definition of a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush.
Yeah.
And that's you carve that in stone for auctions.
Yeah.
Second half of 21.
Yeah. And especially if you take
that tractor in 20 brought 50, and in 21 it brought 96.
Yeah. So in your area, this is something I've been paying attention to as well, is how many retirement, estate sales, those kind of things are popping up around there. And I can't really say that I've seen a whole bunch of stuff like that. We've had some conversations with customers that are pretty much retired. They kind of pulled that, I'm not going to really plant anything this year, but I'm going to have someone farm the ground for me type of thing. And I'm thinking about selling what I've got, but I'm not going to tell you that I'm retiring yet. And some guys have just said, I punched my ticket, I'm out. I'm retiring. I'm going to go down my business. What are you seeing out there on that front?
Yeah, there's a few. We had a couple customers that we lost from our Middletown, Delaware store that retired over in. They were in New Jersey. it was interesting. There was a couple pieces there that a couple salesmen and I talked about, and they went probably $40,000-$50,000 more than what I thought they were going to bring. And it's, as you said, Aaron, because they could get it today.
Yep.
If you're thinking about retirement, now is the time to.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Now is the time to do it.
Absolutely. You could retire for 5 years, sock that into some kind of account, let it grow, and then go buy cheap machinery when it falls out of bed again.
Yeah.
That's one of them used equipment guy thought processes right there. Everything's for sale.
I mean, I'm not seeing a mass exodus, but I would say it is the normal, probably 3-4% that we see every year.
Yep.
I don't believe it's increased from that, but it's just that the people that are doing it right now, they're making out. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it, for sure. Well, Kevin, hey, man, it's been a good conversation, man. What's the last thing you want to throw out there for the people out there on the podcast?
Wow. Perseverance, just take it one day at a time. It's going to be interesting. We're all in this boat together. There's not one OEM that was not affected by what's been going on and by all this craziness. So, with that perseverance, also please be patient with us as dealers, because we're the OEM is above us, and poop runs downhill, and so we're just trying to deal with what the OEM has given us as best as we can, and trying to satisfy you as the customer. So please bear with us and give us some patience, but we're all going to persevere.
Absolutely.
Last thing I put out there, man, is that Kevin came to the Moving Iron Summit last year, and it was good to finally meet him in person. That's one of the good things about doing that is I talked to Kevin a million times, but I never actually put a face to his name. So it was good to see you this past fall here at the Moving Iron Summit, man.
It was great to be there. Create firm up relationships and create more relationships, and at the end of the day, that's what we got to have to help each other out, because we're all trying to move used equipment, and we're all trying to buy it properly, because that's our job, buy it properly and make sure our sales teams are buying it properly, so that we can resell it for a fair price.
Right.
Exactly right. Well, Kevin, man, appreciate you being on, bud.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the invitation.
All right, thanks, Kevin, for being on the podcast, man. Make sure you guys reach out and talk to Kevin. He's got a lot of good stuff going out there, and especially if you're out there on the East Coast, make sure you give those guys a shout. Well, Aaron, I think that's pretty well good jumping off spot here for the podcast. If you got any last things you want to throw out there?
Man, not that I can think of.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would just go out and say that anyone that's starting to do this now, you can't be on the phone enough. And that's the easiest way to start doing that.
Yep.
And growing that contact base with.
Always be looking for contacts, because eventually you get enough built up that the selling becomes requires far less effort.
And just like Kevin said, I mean, and I'll go back and say this, when we were talking, I want to have as many non-John Deere dealer contacts as I have John Deere dealer contacts.
Yep, absolutely.
And because it comes back right down to that. That asset that you can bring back to the dealership of knowing who to call when you've got X on the lot.
Right.
And have that candid conversation with that's going to help you sell that piece of equipment is priceless.
Yep.
You can't put a value on that. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Good deal. All right, Aaron, people want to reach out to you, get more information about what you got going on. What's the best way to do that?
I'd say call me, text me, 308-760-1193.
Did you get your Twitter thing figured out yet?
Not yet.
Outstanding. I just have to start a whole new one.
No.
Well, you can find me on all the social media that still works for me. So Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is where you find the latest editions of the Moving Iron Podcast. You can also go to MovingIronLLC.com to find all the information about the Moving Iron Summit coming up in Nashville, Tennessee, September 6th, 7th, and 8th. If you want more information about that, just send me an email at MovingIronPodcast at MovingIronPodcast.com, and I can get that to you. So kind of back to the whole idea of building networks, right? That's the fundamental purpose of that meeting, right?
Yep.
We have it's a half day, full day, half day, and we have people come in that talk about the economy, the weather that's coming up, some driving factors out there that we're going to see is from the commodity side of the business all the way through just the overall economy. But the most important thing is you get to meet some people across the board. So if you're interested in coming to the Moving Iron Summit,
regardless of color.
How long have you been going to it, Aaron?
Since inception.
Yeah, since the first one.
So,
how many people have you talked to there that you'd only talked to on the phone prior to that?
Well, everybody.
Yeah,
everybody I didn't fly there with.
All right.
So yeah.
So that's a point. Yeah. So if you go there, you're gonna meet people. And how many people were there that you met that you didn't know?
Oh, didn't already know,
right.
Like wasn't already a contact,
right?
Hadn't emailed or talked. Maybe a couple,
right? So you always find 2 or 3 people in there that you don't know. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's 2 or 3 people every year that call me. I'm like, man, I feel like I should know you, but I don't. You know, so it's
people change at dealerships too.
Oh, sure, that's the other side of it too.
Yep.
Is that things get moved around too. So. Check it out. Want more information about that, hit me up, Moving Iron Podcast at MovingIronPodcast.com. And if you really want to do me a solid, go to your favorite podcasting platform and give me 5 stars.
5.
5 of them.
5-star.
And if they can give you 6, give me 6.
Go for it.
But this one
Rack them up.
But this one goes to 11. All right. All right. So with that, I'm Casey Seymour with Aaron Fennell. Let's go move some iron, folks. Out. Axon Tire is going to have more tips, tricks, and client advice throughout the year and in September at the Moving Iron Summit in Nashville. If you're looking to sign up for the event, please head over to MovingIronLLC.com. We hope to see you there. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 or go to valleytransitinc.com for all of your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. And no matter how you buy ag equipment from a dealer, auction, or a private party, AgDirect can help you finance it. You can even apply online at agdirect.com. Learn more about your financing options at agdirect.com.
Moving higher in the 21st century.